I've been very excited about it. Our goal going into spring, any spring I've been a part of, especially this spring, was that the mistakes we make on day one need to be fixed in day two, and we're going to make new mistakes on day two that need to be fixed day three. As I told them, when you make a mistake in a practice, that's an issue. It's not a problem unless that mistake shows up the next practice as well. Okay, so I think we've done a great job of fixing the mistakes that we made within the next practice, create new ones, and work from there. And that's how you get better a little bit at a time.
And then looking at the offense, there's a lot of different position battles, not just the quarterback, but everybody's kind of fighting. Um, as the coordinator, how do you kind of approach just having that overarching offense where there's a lot of jockeying for position in different spots?
That's great. Competition makes the best out of all of us across the board. And to me, everything is an evaluation. From do you go to class? Do you make it to study hall on time? Are you eating right? Are you hydrating right? Are you doing things right off the field? I truly believe that if you're doing those things right, you're going to do things right on the field as well. And everything from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed is an evaluation, especially what happens on the field. But I think the result of what happens on the field is more so what you do off the field in the playbook, in the film room, and again, day-to-day living of doing the right stuff for the right reasons, and that makes you better on the field. And I think competition makes it better for everybody, and there's a lot of that going on. And like you said, moving around from position to position and finding who our top guys are. For me, it's huge because it's, again, my first time really meeting them on the field, and I'm learning new stuff every single day. When a guy makes a mistake, how does he bounce back? I'm not happy that he makes a mistake, but to me, it's like, okay, good. Now, how do you bounce back? The ball's coming right back to you on the next play. And I think I know I'm seeing some of the guys growing up and maturing. That young guys, when that happens, it turns into 4 or 5 bad plays in a row. And now at this point of spring, something happens. They're fixing the next snap. That's when you're growing. That's when you're maturing as an individual, maturing as an offense and team.
So, what are you looking for mainly out of the spring game with everyone kind of maturing, with those mistakes that you kind of want to see not happen again? What are you looking for maybe the most in this spring game coming up?
Execution and effort. To me, effort is something that we coach the heck out of. Coach Silverfield preaches it on a daily basis. We preach it on a daily basis. We feel it's something we shouldn't have to coach, effort, but it's something that we do coach, and we grade it and we watch it very closely. So to me, effort and then execution of making the right play and being in the right spot, playing at a good tempo. That's really what we're trying to get out of spring game. Make sure it's still a practice, whether you call it a game or not, is the best practice we've had so far, which is what our goal was. Day 2 has to be better than day 1. Day 3 has to be better than day 2. There was one practice we took a step back. We didn't play well as an offense. Other than that, I think that's been pretty much the case, and that's what we're looking for. Practice 14 on Wednesday, in the 15 on Friday night.
So I guess obviously with this quarterback battle still going to be going on into the fall, like with execution and just kind of the effort, what do you kind of want to see from the guys being this offense, being in the Liberty Bowl, kind of that whole situation? What do you specifically want to see from the quarterbacks with how they execute?
I want it to be ABC 1, 2, 3 with their reads, with their execution, knowing where they're going, knowing what they're doing. And to me, that's what we preach about every single day with the quarterbacks. We have a lot of sayings and a lot of things we talk about in that quarterback room that get us to that point. But that's what we're looking for. Every single play is going to be the best play you play because of no other reason except the fact that you executed, did what you're supposed to do, and went by the playbook ABC 1, 2, 3. I always say the best quarterbacks you watch play look like they're bored when they're out there, because it's just 1, 2, 3, bounce. There's my read, good. There's my second read, good. There's my check down, good. Life's great. Let's move on to the next play. And that's, to me, what I'm looking for from those guys, and we're seeing it on a daily basis at times. They're not perfect, they never will be. But as long as we keep getting closer to perfect every day, we're going to be in a good spot.
When you say you want them to look kind of bored out there, is that kind of interesting in a way? Because obviously you want your quarterback to be even kill, but if you want them to look that, like you said, bored, like how does that translate as far as just, is it confidence, or is it more just you know what you have to do, just do it and keep moving?
It's confidence, but confidence is knowing exactly what you're doing. When we live our lives as human beings, when we don't know what we're doing, we sure as heck ain't confident on it. If you ask me a calculus question, I'm going to hem and haw around it. But you ask me how to beat a certain defense, we're going to be quick to say those answers. Like I say to them, when you answer a question, what's your name? Seth Hennigan, what's your name? Grant Cannell, what's your name? Tevin Carter, Hunter Hosley, That's your name. So what's your read on this? It should be just as quick as that. And when I say, are you sure about that? Yeah, absolutely, coach, that's my read. So that's what they should know. And Again, like when you watch Tom Brady play, yes, he's fired up, yes, he's enthusiastic, all that type of stuff. But when he's in the pocket, it's so cool to the point, like he's looking bored. You know what I mean? And what he's doing, that's what we try and get to, because it's, again, what's the defense doing? Cool, we got an answer to it. And that's where we got to be as a quarterback. In the meeting room is one thing to be able to answer those questions. On the field is another thing to be able to actually do them when those situations arise. And that's what we're getting better at on a daily basis.
And then with the confidence, outside of just making the read, how much of that is just chemistry with the receiver, knowing that this receiver may like it here, this receiver, like how much of that is just knowing your personnel?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. That's a humongous part of it, and that's why we get so many reps we get in practice, and that's why we repeat the reps over and over again of the plays and the schemes that we're going to be running. We try and live by percentages in the offense, meaning that the plays we're going to run the most next season, those are the plays we're running the most in the fall. I'm sorry, in spring ball / fall camp when we get there. Okay. And to me, that's how you get chemistry with the receivers and the extra time you spend with the receivers. And when you have free time, you're out here on your own working with the receivers, especially in the summertime. We're grabbing them and watching film as much as possible. And that's how you get in the same page, so that the receivers start thinking like a quarterback and the quarterbacks start, understanding exactly where they're going to be.
I guess with the running backs too, I mean, obviously it's going to be interesting kind of seeing them all kind of take a chance with this offense. So how are you looking forward to see how they execute as far as just kind of setting with their roles?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of guys back there, and they all have different skill sets to an extent. Some guys are more power runners, some guys are a little more electric than the other ones. And to me, what we kind of saw last scrimmage, I think they had 13, 14 catches coming out of the backfield. Like, that's a big deal to me. Can they be a complete running back? Can they pick up protection? All that type of stuff. So to me, it's the same thing there, that everything they do is an evaluation, and we got a bunch of good ones. So, you'd rather say he's the best of the best as opposed he won the battle because the other guys didn't do well. You want everyone to play well. We coach everyone as if they're starters. We coach everyone as if they're going to be playing a lot of football for us. And then it tends to clear itself up come the closer you get to Mississippi State.
As a coach, I know everyone, the spring game, we obviously talk about the fans, the atmosphere, the crowd, but as a coach, how much stock do you take out of one practice as far as maybe evaluating? Because obviously you're looking at the grander scheme, but for example, the spring game, if one person shows up really well, but maybe didn't show before, how much stock do you take out of the spring game to evaluate?
You build every single period of practice is evaluated at a different level. So what we do in group work, yes, it's an evaluation, okay? What we do in 7-on-7, yes, it's an evaluation, but it's not as important as what we do in an 11-on-11 team situation. And then when you take that team situation and turn into a live situation, I get it, the quarterbacks aren't red, but I preach to them, how much time do you actually have in the pocket, all that type of stuff. Then the live situation, when you actually claim that it's a game going on, even though I said it's a practice, it's a game-like situation, that becomes more important to me as to how you make plays when the pressure's on. You got one chance to do it. My theory in practice, if you mess a play up, I'm going to give it to you the next play in practice. You don't get that next play in the game. So to me, that's a big part of it. And like I said, as you go from group to 7-on to 11-on to live 11-on, we look at all those differently than the more important you play in the 11-on live is what really gets evaluated the most.
You know what you're looking for Friday night. What can the fans expect? Is it going to be like a true game situation?
It's going to be, yes. I mean, we're going to put the ball down, and ones are going to play against the ones, offense, defense, and there's no script, and see how it plays out. And you're playing a real game football of situations that are going to arise. And to me, that's something that you can simulate in practice. That a spring game allows you to put them in a situation that they need to know what it is on the field, as opposed to us yelling out 3rd and 8, it's 3rd and 7, this is a 4-down, or this is a 4th down period. So they just go out and play football, and to me that's going to be fun for the crowd to watch guys compete. And again, we're all teammates at the end of the day, but for those 2 hours or whatever it is, that's the opponent, and you got to compete for your spot by playing against your teammate, and that's that's the fun to me of spring games, the fun to me of the scrimmages, when you compete against those guys and watch them compete.
How fun is it going to be for you? I mean, obviously you and Coach Barnes, this will be your first time kind of in that game type format, the Liberty Bowl. How exciting is it for you guys to kind of see what it'll be like for you?
Yeah.
In that Liberty Bowl atmosphere.
It is, man. I've been doing this for a long time, man. Games are fun, man. Practice, we have a good time. We hoot and holler in practice, but when you get caught in the game and you're trying to figure out what Coach Barnes is doing, and you're trying to figure out who's on the field to put them in the best situation you can, that's fun, man. To me, that's that's what we do, and that's the fun part of it.
Thanks, Coach.
I appreciate you guys.